What's up, guys? Hector here. Got a full crew today. Got a couple little munchkins with me. So it's spring break, and I did not expect to have the kids with me. They were going to be at their grandparents', but we had a little emergency, and we ended up having to scoop them up from San Antonio. So now I'm on daddy duty, and I've got to figure out a way to keep these two kids entertained.
Actually, minions.
They're minions. So, got a full day today. I'm gonna be heading into we're heading into the gym right now, and got some training to do. I've got a coaches meeting that we have every Friday around noon. After that, I'm going to get my training in for the day. You'll get a little sneak peek of that. I'm still working on presses and squats. Intensity's gonna be dropping down a little bit. I'm gonna be going to 36 kilobells for today. So today's closing out the week with I think I got the highest volume for the week. I'm on week 2 of this cycle. So we'll be diving into that. We just had a big product launch. We launched our newest product, Armor Building Secrets, ABS. So it's how to realign 7 muscle building hormones and how to build muscle without gaining lots of fat. Basically, this is not like some kind of bulking protocol, but it's how to build muscle with minimum fat by realigning 7 key hormone muscle building hormones. And I go through all that throughout the program, throughout the book, and then I show you how to do that with a particular set of plans and how to do that with a pair of kettlebells. So we just had our big launch, probably one of our biggest launches that we've had with that product. And one of the bonuses is for an upcoming program called Kettlebell 6, which is going to be probably my last project for the year. I try to keep my projects to like maybe 1 or 2 a year because they're just very time consuming. When I put them together, they're not just a bunch of random exercises, what have you, thrown together. So our ABS started that September, October of last year is when I initially wrote the plans. We did tons of testing on it and put together all the research that goes into basically to support the plans that this is what they do kind of thing. So we launched that out. It's currently it's not a live launch where I guess you can call it a soft launch, because it is only available to our email list, the subscribers of our email, and our blog, the Strong Tech blog. It's only currently available to them only. Once we feel everybody has had their share and had the opportunity to get it, we're going to launch it live to the blog. With that said, all of our pre-launch early bird, people that take advantage of the pre-launch early bird, get ABS and are going to get Kettlebell 6 basically for free. They're going to get free access to that because Kettlebell 6 isn't scheduled to launch until the end of summer. It takes time to write the plans, take people through it, test it. I always make sure we have either our students at the gym test it, or we'll occasionally launch it to our email list and let our subscribers test it as well before we go on a full launch. So you're going to get free access to that, and then from there we'll continue to be working on the plans and having it perfected by summer, which you'll get free access to that, and a bunch of other. I added 4 other bonuses to it. I put together a little 12-part mini course called 12 Days to More Muscle mini course. You get access to that in the ABS product, and some other really cool stuff. Anyway, that's not what this video is about, but that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to be doing this whole week. Is this weekend is writing up ABS, the initial draft of ABS, getting that out the door for the people that bought ABS so they can start getting into it, and then we'll have it all perfected by summertime. So if you want in on the pre-launch sale and special, I'll drop a link in the description where you can become a subscriber, and I'll hook you up with another really cool ebook, and then you can get access to that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're heading into the gym right now. I'm going to be knocking out presses and squats. I've got a coaches meeting, and then after that we'll be knocking out some work for Kettlebell 6. This is a typical day at the gym. When I have the kids here with me, you can see this is what it turns into. This is dad life when I'm trying to sneak in my sets of presses, and this is usually what it turns into. That was my second set. One of the things that I'm gonna be, and my kids are going crazy right now. My kid found a quarter. This is how you keep your kids entertained, guys. You give your 4-year-old son a quarter and he goes crazy. That was my second set, and something I'm gonna be focusing on this whole entire session to really drive home my squat, because I feel like my press is pretty solid. I've always been a natural presser, whether it's one arm push-up, strict press, bench press. I've always kind of naturally gravitated towards pressing. My squats, kind of in the middle, but it's the pulling exercises that really get me. So one of the things I'm gonna be focusing on here for this whole session, and really this whole cycle, is pausing in the bottom of the squat. So if you see me pause at the bottom, it's not because like I'm trying to be cool or show how much mobility that I have, but I'm pausing at that bottom to really focus on that starting strength, that dead strength at the bottom. So I like to take that approach in my presses. So once I rack a bell, I like to pause, let all that energy dissipate before I press again. So I like to call that like a dead press. I'm gonna call this like a dead squat. So instead of getting down there, bouncing in and out, getting down, pausing, owning the position, maintaining pressure before starting the next one. And I believe this is one of the secrets, not even a secret, this is one of the strategies to improving your squat, improving your press, is really focusing on owning all aspects of that, taking your time and being intentional. I wrote about that. I'll put the link in the description. I wrote about being intentional on the blog, and I'll drop that in there so you can talk about it. I go through I think it's 9 specific things to be intentional about when you're going through pressing or something like that, and I'll be sure to link that in the description. So a good quality chalk is really important. There's several different types of chalks out in the market. I use a company called Viking Chalk, okay? Viking Chalk, and I like the texture of it. It holds really well on the bells. And I like the way, like I said, I like the way it sits on the bells. I like the way it sits on my hands. This stuff cakes up really good. I used to use a previous chalk, and they no longer make it anymore. It's called, it was called 𝗫𝗄𝗄𝗃. Best chalk in the world. I still have 2 blocks left that I use very sparingly. It's like that fine scotch that you don't want to go to waste, so I only pull it out in certain occasions. The stuff's amazing. Maybe in another video I'll show you what that looks like. And but yeah, so I like to use Viking chalk. I think that it's a really good chalk, and it holds really well. So this is actually my 2nd application of chalk, and I'm going on my 4th set. So it's something that I have to constantly apply. All right guys, get ready to go into my 5th set. In the 5th set, I've got a set of 3 presses and 3 squats. I'm still gonna be focusing on my pauses, but one thing I'm gonna be really intentional with this set is with my clean. The clean is it is the center of the universe when it comes to the double kettlebell movements, because you've got to receive the bells in the rack very nice and efficiently. The better the clean is, the better the press, the better the squat, the better the push, whatever comes after that's gonna be so much better. And so the more efficient we can be with that clean, the less adjustments we have to make, and we're able to use that energy to get ready for the press and the squat. But I'm gonna allow that energy to dissipate, because I don't wanna use the energy to press and squat, but I still want that clean to be nice and smooth. So one thing I'm gonna focus on for this next set is I want to receive them as smoothly as I can, and I'm gonna try to demonstrate the best I can, but I'm really gonna try to hit those cleans into my waistline. So my goal is to pull them right into my belly, right around where my belt would be. And when I pull them in there, the momentum is going to carry them to the rack. So that's going to be my intention for this set, is getting my cleans to come to my waist. From there, they'll finish in the rack, and it's going to set me up perfectly for my press. I got set of 3, and I'm going to focus on a 3-second pause, the long pause, a 3-second pause in each press. This is one way that you can boost the intensity of your training and get more conditioning without having to do conditioning. If you don't like doing cardio or snatches or swings or anything like that, you don't have to worry about doing that. Pause longer, uses more energy, more time under tension, which opens up opportunities for muscle building. And so, anywho, I'm gonna jump right in, and I'm gonna focus on 3-second pauses between each press and each squat. And I'm gonna really focus on dialing in that clean, and then really focusing on dialing the clean on the way down. All right, so we got set number 5. So that was a rough set. Oh man, time under tension, dude. That's where it's at when you're trying to build muscle. I want to show you a little something that I drink on my training days. So because of this, I'm not going to have gummy bears. Normally I have gummy bears after my training. So I typically plan 30 grams of carbs either during or after my training. And so one of my favorite drinks, this is, yes, it's a quote unquote energy drink, if you will, but it's called 𝗪𝗡. It's one of my products. And what I like about it is it's low glycemic sugar. So it's not gonna spike your insulin crazy high, okay? And there's about 26 grams of carbs inside the drink. It's a pomegranate flavor. It tastes crazy good. It's lightly carbonated, so if you got carbonation problems, you may not like it, but it's really, really good beverage. I like to sip on it. It'll probably take me all day to finish that, but I'll try to finish it before my workout's done. I like to sip on that during my training because it gives me the carbs and the sugar that I need to keep pushing my training really hard. Now, it's not something that I drink randomly throughout the day for like no reason. I strategically plan that in my training. So if I don't do the 𝗪𝗡, I'll do gummy bears after training, but I plan 30 grams of carbs during or after my training, again, to fuel my workouts or to boost my recovery. But today I knew I was gonna be going really heavy in terms of volume. So today there's quite a bit of volume today. So whenever there's high volume and heavy weight, like I have scheduled for today, I like to have some form of sugar, some form of glucose and carbs, what have you, during the training, and I like to kind of sip on that throughout the, you can use the same thing with like a Gatorade, something that's just kind of like higher in sugar. I like the 𝗪𝗡 because again, it's one of my products. I have easy access to it. And so it's actually not mine, it's a company that I partnered with, but it's my product, if you will. And love the drink, really good, fuels my workouts, but that's kind of something I sip on. I'm not sure if there's anything that you sip on when you like to train. If so, drop something in the comments. But I think having a good 30 grams or so of carbs during training or after training is gonna be very beneficial to boost your recovery and to fuel your session. I was gonna say something around that. I forgot what I was gonna say around that. It was something to do with the drink. I can't quite remember. My brain disappeared from me for there at the moment. Damn it. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna finish up my next session and we'll check in. My brain came back. I remember what I was gonna say. When it comes to the carbs, again, I'm sipping this currently through my session, but here's a caveat to that. I don't typically do something like this if I'm doing like conditioning work. So I just wrapped up a double snatch cycle. I would not do that during the double snatch cycle just because I don't like to have anything at all during that because heart rate's up, hard to breathe. I don't like to be consuming anything, not even water during that time frame. So today's session is, yes, high volume, high intensity, but it's strength training. So it's pure strength focus. So my heart rate gets up there, but it's not up there and staying pretty consistent like as if I were doing like some kind of conditioning work. So just take that with a grain of salt. If you do consider to do something like this, don't do this through some kind of like snatch training or swing training or jerks or something like that because it's just not going to be pleasant. I like it when I'm doing, when I'm doing deadlifts, when I'm doing heavy pressing and squatting. It's pure strength focused work. So that's the time when I would, again, it's high intensity, high volume. So I'll have the carbs during, and it works perfectly because I can control my heart rate at that time. And it's easy for me to consume the sugar. The last thing you want is a mouthful of sugar and glucose and carbs when you're trying to breathe and stay relaxed during your training session. So I remembered what I was going to say, and so I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget again. So let's knock out that next session. Next set. I'm getting tired. All right, guys, so we got 2 more sets. Take a little breather out here outside. This is my facility, by the way, if y'all can't. Got my kids back there going crazy. And it's not a crazy big place, but gets the job done. About 3,000 square foot. I'll give you a little overview here. Quick little tour. So I'll stand here in the corner. So that's the school, baby. That's where it all happens. You got all the bells here, got a little turf. We got our barbell section back here, so we do all of our barbell work, all of our body weight. We got all of our boxing stuff, and this is where all the good stuff happens. So I'll get a little bit closer. So this is where all the magic happens. This is the training lab. This is the actual physical training lab. This is where everything goes down. Check it out. So everything I write, everything I put together goes into the training Bible. And it's a huge book like this with literally hundreds and hundreds of plans that we write, that I write, take our people through, take our readers through. And that's how we know this stuff works. So still got some jiu-jitsu mats. So I actually downgraded. This is a facility we moved to last year. I had a huge 4,200 square foot facility about a year and a half ago. Just really wasn't happy there. So we moved here, and I kept some of my jiu-jitsu mats, just enough for me and a close, small group of people to train. But then I've got a bunch of extra mats back here that we actually pull out, and it fills this whole area. So whenever I have several people come over, especially when we run our jiu-jitsu classes, I'll pull those out, and we have those up and running. But I have those little small mats constantly going, so you know, for private training, body weight stuff, mobility stuff. And then right back here is where all the maximum strength works. All the maximum strength happens. We got all of our barbell work here. We got our rings, all of our pull-up stuff. This is where that's the platform that I put together. So this is it. This is my physical location, Hardstyle Strength and Fitness, where it all gets down. But for the readers online, this is the training lab. So step outside for a second. Hey, little dude, you stay in there. So I got 2 sets left. I've got a set of 5 press, 2 squat, and then the last set is just gonna be 3 presses, no squats. I'm gonna show you a quick little insight of that. Now, something I'm gonna do on this last set of higher presses. So come back over here. Pardon, I hope I'm not making you dizzy by walking back and forth. If I am, I apologize. So I'll show you what I got still sitting up here. Is I got 2 sets left. I got 5 and then 2 squats, and then I got a set of 3 and then no squats. So what I'm gonna do for this set of 5 here is, here's a great thing about training. Here's a good thing about strength, is there's no absolute. The only absolute is that there is no absolute. Dude, hey, take it easy, boy. Man, my son's going nuts. Sorry about that. So here's the crazy thing. Not the crazy thing. There's one absolute that there are no absolutes, okay? So I like to listen to my body. And once I'm, like right now, my shoulders are getting pretty tired. I've done a ton of volume today in pressing and squatting. I think we've had over 80 something total reps, I think. This is my last set of 5. I'm already tired, and it's peaking volume one more time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little technique that we use in like push presses and jerks. So even though these are strict presses, you can still receive them and catch them in the rack. You don't have to strictly pull it down, you know? This is training. This is training. So training is something that should be enjoyed. It's something that should make you feel good. And it's a great way to express yourself, right? So there should be no limitations or restrictions like you got to do it this way. Right now, there are standards. There are standards that you need to meet. Hey, get inside here, Chiquilla. There are standards that you need to meet, right? Like the press, like not letting the feet come up during the press, you know, that kind of thing. But when you receive it in the rack, there's no strict standard around that. So these are little things that you can add to your training, especially when you're starting to get tired. This is how you can start to train smarter, okay, and stay fresh, because it's all about longevity, especially as you get older, all right? So I'm gonna jump in. You're gonna see what a little technique I'm gonna add. It's just like the push press and the jerk. I'm just gonna be receiving them in the rack because I'm getting tired, all right? So let's do it. And that wraps up the session for today. So, tons of volume. I'll walk over here to my log. So, you notice the way that I finished those presses. I put my little phone here. I focused on receiving them into the rack position versus actively pulling them in. That's not a standard of the press, is to actively pull them in. Once I start getting tired, especially if I got high volume, high intensity, on those presses, I start receiving them in the rack, using my legs to absorb the shock. It's going to preserve energy, and it's going to allow you to finish strong. So that was, I thought it was 80 lifts. Felt like 80 lifts. Only had 53 lifts in total, but that was some pretty high volume with a pair of 36 kilo bells. And as far as energy expenditure, not too bad as far as energy expenditure. I burnt about almost 500 calories ish, 460. So now it's time to eat. Gonna take the kids to our favorite restaurant. It's a little Vietnamese place. It's amazing, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that when we get there. So getting ready to chow down. So we're at our favorite restaurant here in Corpus. It's a place called 𝗀𝗘𝗘. It's Vietnamese, family-owned business, and just great food. They got tons of variety. So today's our second week of the Lenten season. So today I'm not doing any meat. I'm going to be doing only salmon and veggies. As you can see, I've got a plate of avocado. I've got plate of salmon, tons of veggies. I've got what's called a pho, which is like a Vietnamese soup, and then from that pho we have some shrimp inside, and then I've got a plate of veggies right next to that. So that's what I'm going to be chowing down on as my recovery meal. I love going out to eat, and so you can totally go out to eat, still see great results, but you just want to be smart about it, right? Make sure you're having, good whole food choices, good clean choices. And you can see here I've got my fats, I've got my proteins, I've got my carbs, and I've got, did I say proteins? I didn't. We got proteins again. So I'm going to be diving into this, and this looks just really good. All right, so here we are. We're going for our normal walk. So our kids are currently off for spring break right now, so I've got them I've got them with me. I got my dude that's running way ahead of me. My daughter's here going crazy. So don't go too far, dude. All right. So we just finished having a late lunch. Kids are already getting tired after filling their bellies. How's your belly feeling? Pretty stuffed. There's something I want to talk about on this walk. So I like to go for a nice little walk, brisk walk after I eat. Helps with digestion. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. You hear a lot of guys talk about, well, not even guys, just people in general, they kind of bash eating out. You shouldn't be eating out if you want to lose weight or lean out or whatever that is. I love eating out. We eat out, I don't know, at least once a week at a minimum. But be smart about eating out. Hey, dude, take it easy. Be smart about eating out. Make sure we got no cars. Look, there's a truck right there. All right, you gotta look both ways before we're crossing the road. You can eat out. You just gotta be smart about it. Just gotta plan it out. So nowadays, with the advancement of technology, a lot of restaurants have their restaurants. They have their menus online, so you can look ahead of time and know exactly what it is that you're going to eat, right? So the place that I went to is a little Vietnamese place. If you're ever in Corpus Christi, it's called 𝗀𝗘𝗘. It's ran by Lily Nguyen. She's amazing. Love her. She catered our wedding over, 12 plus years ago. It's amazing food. I love it because they got a good variety of stuff. She's very health conscious. So everything they have there is just cooked with really good, fresh ingredients. And it's our favorite place to go. Love to take the kids there. And I already know what I'm gonna get every single time. I have got like 2 or 3 main dishes that I love to eat they're foods that I enjoy. So obviously whenever you go out to eat, make sure you find something that has foods that you enjoy. Obviously you don't want to be consuming tons of like fried foods and stuff that just don't kind of serve you. But, find good foods that you enjoy eating. So for me, I love fresh salmon, veggies, I get this dish there. It's called cranberry salmon. Oh man, it is amazing.
You get their avocado too.
And I love avocado, right? And so if I have fats scheduled into my eating for the day, I like to get it through avocado. Avocados are my favorite fats that I like to have. If I don't do avocado, then I usually add some kind of oils in there. If I'm allowed to have, when I say allowed, it's because I have it planned into my eating. If I've got a certain amount of carbs that I have planned into my eating, I'll make sure I eat, I'll have a dish that has some kind of carb scheduled in, and I like to have it there. So you can eat out. I would actually say you can eat out almost every single day if it's in the budget and you know exactly what it is that you're going to eat. So that's just something to, you can enjoy your life. You can eat at some of your favorite restaurants if it's within your budget and if it's foods that you enjoy eating. So today I went with the salmon dish because that's one of my staple dishes that I love eating on a regular basis, but we're in the second season, we're in the second week of the Lenten season. And so we're not allowed to eat any red meat. And the reason for that, if you're Catholic, you already know. If you're not, you probably would think that's a weird thing. And what's Lent all about? In a nutshell, the Lenten season is 40 days of us looking back on our life and acknowledging our sins and repenting, turning away from sin. And we don't eat red meat on Fridays because that's the day Christ was crucified, was on a Friday, and then he rose on Sunday. So we don't eat red meat on Fridays in respect of Christ's body. For flesh, blood, we don't consume that. So we're allowed to have fish, shellfish, shrimp, stuff like that, just no red meat. No chicken, things like that. So on Fridays, we abstain from red meat, and so I went with the salmon. I went with the salmon dish for today. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up for today. I'm gonna finish off this walk with the kiddos, and then tomorrow we got a pretty busy day. It's the weekend, and we got jiu-jitsu tomorrow. We got jiu-jitsu Sunday, and I'll be chiming in and checking in with you guys then. So until then, if you're gonna be eating out, enjoy eating out. Find your favorite foods, eat those foods. Make sure that's in line with what you're supposed to be eating for the day. Add some of those little training tips that I added in my training today. Focus on pausing, focus on being intentional in your training. Train smart, like know when to regress down, right? I use my legs to receive the bells in the rack position. And just know when to train smart, all right? So that's all I got for you today. If you're liking the video, be sure to subscribe. Click the bell, that way you can be notified when I launch another video. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like it, which is fine. Either way, it doesn't really matter. That's it, guys. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.